Hi team, welcome back to Check Your Leader TV. Today I'm just going to just a quick hobby update, a couple of corrections, and uh, a bit of an overview of my trip to Gettysburg. In my last video, I talked about Historicon and Gettysburg writ large, what we got up to, Steve and I, and the things like that. In this video, I'm just going to show you some still photos and some footage I took in a sort of like a chronological order of the 2 days that I spent at Gettysburg recently with Dave. With Steve from Basement 1901. This brings me on to my first thing I want to say, though. As you can see, I struggle with names sometimes. In my last video, I mentioned that I met Nigel from Little Wars TV. There is no Nigel at Little Wars TV. What I meant to say was when Steve and I were at Historicon, he and I, together with Dave Brown and his son Christopher, had a couple of drinks at one of the bar. I think it was at the Marriott where the event was being held, with Miles from Little Wars TV. So if Miles is watching this, I apologize. I don't know what I was thinking. Clearly I wasn't. But I am genuine when I say this. I am very, very bad with names. There's a reason for that, to do with me being rattled around a bit in my previous life as a soldier. I did suffer a few blows to my head, so I apologize for that. I did speak briefly with Miles at these drinks. I think it was on the Saturday night, and he's an absolute gentleman. And so, as I'm sure all the guys over at Little Wars TV, for me, it was a great honor to be there with Miles from Little Wars TV. Their channel is obviously that's really is the benchmark by which all wargaming channels should try to aspire to. But that was a great night. It was a lot of fun. I didn't get to speak to Miles as much as I would like to have. It's always the case that when you're at a function where there are lots of interesting people, invariably you never get to speak to any one individual as much as you would like. So I'm hopeful that one day we'll get to catch up and we'll get to do that again. And maybe I'll be fortunate enough to speak with the other fellas from Little Wars TV as well. Enough of that though. Moving on. What we're going to go on with now is I'm going to give you, like I said, I'll let you have a look at just some of the footage I took when I was at Gettysburg. It's always a privilege to go to Gettysburg, and it always surprises me when I go there, the amount of American people that don't really understand the significance of that battle as much as I think they really ought to. It's not that the Battle of Gettysburg was the turning point of the American Civil War. I think it was one of the cogs within a larger mechanism that turned the American Civil War on its head. At the same time the Battle of Gettysburg was concluding, the Siege of Vicksburg was concluding, and from my perspective, I think that was the more significant event because it cut the Confederacy in half. But just as the Siege of Vicksburg and the capture of Vicksburg wasn't in of itself the moment that won the American Civil War, and neither is the Battle of Gettysburg. But Gettysburg, Vicksburg, and a lot of other things that were happening at that time or around that time, all these things all contributed to the result that the United States got out of the American Civil War. And for me, the American Civil War, I've always had an immense interest in that, because the United States really, if that nation had not it did not come into being, I think the world would be in a much, much worse state. Now, I fully understand that a lot of people, for a variety of reasons, hold great hostility towards the United States, but I ain't one of them. There's that. Um, so that's what's what you'll see here is just a little bit of a bit of a tour around the Battle of Gettysburg. The other thing I want to mention going forward is this week I'm going to be playing a game of Midgard with David James, and maybe another local wargamer, Peter from over near Castle, Maine. He indicated to Dave that he wanted to have a game, but we're having difficulty getting in touch with him. Local here in Australia is anything within 50 kilometres. So a game of Midgard, using it for a War of the Roses battle. And then after that, I'm probably going to dive in to a bit of O group, because I'm really keen to play some O group again. And that's it. Another tip, as this video is being uploaded, Steve over at Basement 1908 is continuing with his Victoria campaign, and he's just uploaded the preliminaries in part 1 to the latest battle. I think it's called the Bridges at Zadora or something like that. It's one of the scenarios out of the Victoria campaign book, I'm sure that'd be an interesting battle to have a look at. Anything where you have to attack across bridges, it can be a very difficult proposition for an attacker. Which brings me on to another thing. I will soon be uploading another one of my tactical tips for playing GTA 2, where I will specifically cover assaults across bridges and defending reverse slopes, things like that. So let's now just have a look at my little video montage of the Gettysburg National Park.
Sorry.
Ah, you're right.
Silences Yule's guns. Around 7 p.m., he launches infantry assaults on Corpse Hill and Cemetery Hill. On the west side of Cemetery Hill, the Union positions.
All second main battery. So this is the Union. This was the Union's first line of resistance on the 1st of July 1863 along here, and then you would have had the Confederates basically were coming straight up this road, and that's the monument to General Buford, commander of the cavalry, and then we've got General Reynolds, 1st Division, 1st Corps. That's the Iron Brigade monument, and this is along, like that I said before, this is the first line of resistance that the Confederates would have encountered. And all along here you'll find, like for example, 2nd West Virginia Infantry, and then there's another memorial stone over there to a West Virginian infantry. It's pretty warm today, but it's gorgeous. It's really, really nice in the shade. I could stay here all day. It's beautiful.
They weren't even a state until after the war, right?
I think that, well, it says 1863 on their flag, so they became a state in 1863, I'm pretty sure.
It probably wasn't ratified in the Congress afterwards.
No, that takes forever.
We gotta think about
Okay,
this.
so from here, we're looking towards the monuments for Reynolds and Buford. And then down here is the famous railway cut where the second miss got shot to shreds and then surrendered. Oh, there you go, trapped in the cut.
So we went from here to there.
Yeah.
This one is the 56. What would be PV?
What is it?
PV.
PV, Pennsylvania? Maybe.
That's the warning on the back of Wadsworth.
Oh yeah, 56 Pennsylvania Volunteers.
Yeah.
And these are the 147th New York Infantry. And more footage of trees. So all these monuments to various regiments, both Confederate on the left-hand side, Union on the right here. And that's the marker for the Davis's brigade. So this is the this is the railway cut. Now this bridge was built in 2008, and I suspect to facilitate these battlefield tour roads, for want of a better word. So yeah. And that there is the monument to those damned Redlegs. Probably one of my favourite Union regiments from the American Civil War. So the 14th Brooklyn, 14th Brooklyn Zouaves, and they later they were renumbered, I think it was 146th New York Volunteer Infantry. But I could be wrong on the number, but they were definitely started off as the 14th Brooklyn. And typical Pennsylvania, there's food growing everywhere. So this is approximately where General Reynolds fell, urging forward the Iron Brigade. No, you're all good. So this is Culp's Hill. Well, obviously we're not at the apex, but there's some real heavy fighting here on day 2. Actually, 2 and 3, there was a lot of fighting here. So that monument there to the 123rd New York, on the top of it is Clio, and she's a muse, a Greek muse to the gods, and her job was to record great acts of valor. So that's what she's doing.
She was in the right place.
Yeah, she was in the right place for recording acts of valor, I'll tell you. There's a lot of that going on up here. Yeah, it is. It's a I think they got at least one battery up here. So this is the apex of Culp's Hill. So that's Independent Battery E, isn't it? That's Nape's battery, Pennsylvania Volunteers. All right, so I'm going to go to the top of this tower. Yeah, see if I can't get a heart attack. Yeah. there is Big Round Top, Little Round Top, Cemetery Ridge, there, all around to the town of Gettysburg, there, and then, yeah, this is the hook. So they came in initially from over there and over there. So that's when the Confederates come in from, and the Feds are coming in. Well, there's Little Round Top, Big Round Top. So they're coming in through here. That's Emmitsburg out that way, I guess. That's General Slocum. And this is the east end of Cemetery Ridge. So this is Cemetery Hill, the east end of it. That's Ricketts Battery. And that's looking down towards the Confederate positions. And that's General Howard's monument there. And I think that might be Hancock, or one of Hancock's monuments, but we'll see. So yep, that's Winfred Hancock. So on the first day, when the Confederates pushed past the initial point of contact, or line of resistance, they came through here. There was Union infantry at the base of this hill. They received horrendous fire, but they pushed on, broke through the infantry, came up here, attacked the guns, captured several of them, but then due to a delay for them getting supported, Union troops then came up from this direction, came up here and drove the Confederates back off this gun position and drove them back. And then this, on the first day, this is securing this high ground part of Cemetery Ridge. So Culp's Hill out this way. So there's Culp's Hill there, and it comes down and we're along Cemetery Ridge, and this will take us all the way down. Now from here we're going to go all the way down to the Peach Orchard, the Devil's Den, Little Round Top, because that's where the heavy fighting, apart from Culp's Hill, that's where most of the heavy fighting happened on the second day.
We're at rocks in it. Yeah. It's at rocks. We're at all rocks and them and potatoes with potatoes.
You're never gonna poop again, are you? It's over, man.
Potatoes with my potatoes.
Pickles, concrete.
So over near where that white car is and those cannons, well, cannons are facing towards the Peach Orchard. Okay, so this is Sickles Salient. Basically, I'm standing right near the Excelsior Brigade's monument. And so this is Sickles Salient. So on the second day of Gettysburg, when Dan Sickles decided to advance his corps from back over there, they've come up to this ground here, but he's come forward all by himself, created a salient, and then when Barksdale's charge was launched, which was from over in this direction here, they basically just, there was some really heavy fighting, but this salient was absolutely crushed. And so this is the Excelsior Brigade's monument. and it was made up of all essentially Zouave units, 70th, 71st, 72nd, 74th and 75th. So there's 4, 73rd, 74th. I think that's it. Yeah, 70th through to 74th, the 74th regiments are all part of the Excelsior Brigade, and I'm pretty certain that they were all Zouave units. And then we have the round tops over here. So Devil's Den will be back in that direction, I'm pretty sure. So that's the Excelsior Brigade monument there. This is the second, or the second fire Zouaves. As you can see, they're made up mainly of firefighters. 73rd New York Infantry. Again, there's the peach orchard. And then this is where Barksdale's charge would have come in from over here. And they would have come in from over there as well, because this is a salient sticking out of the line. And then we're looking back towards Cemetery Ridge. So the main Union line over there, and then Devil's Den, Round Top, the little Round Top, big Round Top, they're over there. So there's Little Round Top, if I'm not mistaken, and then Big Round Top. Well, this is all part of the heavy fighting on the second day. This is actually this charge that would have come through here. So basically from this direction over through here, through Sickles Call, into Devil Den and Round Top, and onto also some of Barksdale's units would have got up into Cemetery Ridge. This is the true high water mark of the Confederacy. People always talk about Pickett's charge being the high water mark. No. Pickett's charge was a fool's errand. This actually could have won the war for the Confederacy, or certainly won the Battle of Gettysburg. Whether defeat or loss at Gettysburg was going to change the Union's resolve to continue fighting is another matter. But it certainly, this charge, known as Barksdale's charge, this was the real chance to win the Battle of Gettysburg, and it was their last chance. They had numerous chances on day one, but this was their best chance on day two. And thankfully, they screwed the pooch big time. Now over yonder is Steve with his camera. Okay, so now we're going to go down to Devil's Den and then up to Little Round Top. That swampy ground, that's the bottom left corner of Sickles Salient. Salient goes up from the right hand side of that swamp all the way up towards the peach orchard, and then hooks around towards where that house is. There should be a barn, there's like that red barn's in there somewhere, and then it plunges back in the line. And that is Sickles Salient, and that's why he gets his ass handed to him, because he's sticking out like a sore thumb. They get half the division, half the corps gets driven back in through Devil's Den, and they hold them long enough here so that they get troops up to Little Round Top. And this is where the assault on the second day on the United States left ends. But Barksdale's boys, they end up going in through there, and they actually get onto Cemetery Ridge. But then inexplicably they decide, no, we've had enough for the day, and they go home. Well, they go back to the Confederate lines.
It's time for a sweet tea.
Yeah, let's have some sweet tea.
Hold me a good sweet tea then.
So this is the extreme left flank of the entire Army of the Potomac at the Battle of Gettysburg, so the left flank of the 20th Maine. And they would have gone up to that where you see the end of that little stone wall there, and then the right flank is over about there. So it's not a massive piece of like linear, like frontage wise. It's nowhere as big as you would think if you had just relied on what you've seen on the movie Gettysburg. It's a pretty small area, and so this is where they refused their left flank early in the battle, and then eventually when the charge happens, they charge from here. They go down this way initially, then they do a right hook and they sweep around, and then they drive the Confederates back down Little Round Top.
Okay, so that covers, like I said, my a quick tour of the Gettysburg National Battlefield Park, and also a bit of a heads up of what we're going to do going forward. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Like, share, and subscribe, and hopefully the next video uploading, I will cover a game of Midgard for the War of the Roses. Okay, we'll see you again soon. Ubiquay.